Hi, BC family. Welcome to your midweek devotion. So, this week I titled my devotion, How Close Are You? So, I'm going to start off with Luke 2:25 through 27. It's actually, I was reading Luke chapter 2 today, and this is what stood out to me. So, now there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And this man was righteous and devout and looking for the consolation of Israel, which is another way of saying he was looking for Jesus or the Messiah. The Holy Spirit was upon him, and it had been divinely revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord, the Messiah. And prompted by the Holy Spirit, he came into the temple when the parents brought in this little child, Jesus, to do for him what was customary according to the law. And he took him up in his arms and blessed God and said, Lord, now you are letting your servant depart in peace. So what I wanted to focus on and what stood out to me this morning is that Simeon was looking for Jesus. That just caught my eye, and I just kept hearing the Holy Spirit bring me back to Simeon was looking for, constantly looking. Every day he is eagerly waiting, eagerly seeking. And on that particular day, he didn't miss a beat, right? He was still looking for Jesus, and the Spirit was on him, and the Spirit led him. It said he was prompted by the Spirit. Simeon followed Jesus, followed God consistently, right? He was faithful in his time spent with God, and his faith never wavered. He stayed close to God. He stayed close to God. He kept a hold of the promise that the Holy Spirit gave him. So the question I have today is, are you a Christ follower? And maybe your answer is, yes, I follow God. I love Jesus. So then my next question becomes, how close are you following? Because you can follow someone and still be really, really far away, right? You can still follow someone, but be 10 cars back. So the question is, how close are you following? I heard a pastor talk about a story of his dog, and it reminded me of my own dog. So we have a doodle, and he follows you around everywhere. Right now, he's sitting outside my door waiting for me to open the door. And if I go to the bathroom, he sits outside the bathroom door, and he'll whine if he feels like I'm taking too long, and he'll kind of paw at the door. Or if you have toddlers at home, or if you raise children, they follow you all over the house, and they reach their little fingers underneath your door, and you're sleeping at night, and you open your eyes, and they're standing there following closely, right? That's what Simeon's doing. He's following God closely. In Psalms 5, verse 3, David wrote of his commitment to spend time with God every morning. He said, My voice you shall hear in the morning, O Lord. In the morning I will direct my voice to you, and I will look up. I love that. If we don't begin our day by looking up, then our natural tendency is to start our day by looking down, right? The alarm goes off, you reach over and you get your phone, and what do? You're looking down. You're looking at your text messages. You're looking at your emails. You're on social media. Maybe you're watching the news, right? Or maybe you pulled out your calendar and you're flipping through your to-do list. And during that time of looking down, our emotions can pull us downward or in this spiral before we ever even leave our home and get a jump start on our day, right? David understood this. He was surrounded with enemies outside his home and even among his own family members. Poor David. And David knew that he needed to start each morning looking up. He knew the importance of that before his flesh had an opportunity to take him down. He wanted to make sure he started by looking up. In the same way, we need to start every day, every morning, looking up. You accomplish this. How do you do this? You do this by focusing your attention on the word every morning and by spending time with God, eagerly waiting, eagerly seeking, just like Simeon. He was looking for Jesus every day. Making the Lord and his word your first focus each day, that's going to be your lifeline for spiritual strength. That's that lifeline. Psalm 63:1 says, "O God, you are my God. Early will I seek you. My inner self, my soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs and is faint for you in a dry and dreary land where no water is." What's the saying? It's saying we should be seeking God as if it's the one thing we need to survive. We're in a dry desert and there's no water. And what are we doing? You're hunting for water. You're searching for water. That's what's filling your mind and your thoughts. You have to have water. That's how we're supposed to be seeking him. That's how we're supposed to be desiring him. Simeon made seeking God his lifestyle, right? In 1 Thessalonians 5:17, Paul tells us to pray without ceasing. This simply means you are to develop a lifestyle of prayer, of communication with God, starting, as we've heard from David, early in the morning. It's the best way to get started. And then you can keep that up throughout the rest of your day. You wake up talking to God. You make breakfast talking to God. You get your kids out of the house. You're driving to work. You're at work and talking to God. You're cooking meals and you're talking to God. Why? Because you started off your day looking up. It's all about consistency. That's something I talked about this last Sunday. In consistency lies the power. If you're inconsistent, then the power is that you're never going to accomplish what you want because you're doing the roller coaster. But if you're in consistency, you're consistently doing exactly what David's talking about. Every morning I will seek you. Early every morning I will seek you. Simeon was constantly looking for Jesus. When you're consistently following him close, then God is leading you to that promised land, right? Simeon could have missed his time with God that day. He could have gave into the weariness of not seeing the promise of God for year after year after year and been like, today I don't want to go. He would have missed the leading of the Holy Spirit because he didn't start off his day by looking for Jesus and filling his thoughts with God. He could have missed the Holy Spirit. He could have missed the prompting and missed the fulfilling of what was promised to him. When we make looking up the first thing we do every day, then we're filling ourselves with him, with his light. Philippians 2:14-15 says, do all things without complaining and disputing, that you may become blameless and harmless children of God without fault in the midst of this crooked and perverse generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. We're to be lights in the world. And when you think about light shines, right? Light shines. It doesn't blend in. It stands out. You can't do this. You can't stand out by starting your day looking down. If you can't shine if you're not following close enough. The Amplified says among you whom you are seen as bright lights, stars or beacons shining out clearly in the dark world. So you hear all the time, well, I'm just not a morning person. I can't get in my time in the morning. Well, then you can't really be a shining light throughout your day, right? You're just going to blend in with everybody else with the same complaining and grumbling that everyone else does. Because how are we a light if we didn't put the light in us first thing in the morning, right? It says to do in Philippians, we just read it, do everything without complaining. So you're not supposed to complain. That's a very difficult task. But when you start your day looking up and you're consistently seeking him and being led, then it's so much easier to do everything without complaining. But when you start your day looking down and being filled with the phone text messages and the emails and the media and what it tells you, then that's what you're filled with throughout the day. And it's much harder to not complain, right? There are so many great pieces to Simeon's story, but the best part is that he is always looking up, looking for. He never went without the Spirit being upon him, guiding him. He never lost faith in God's promise to him. God promised him he was going to see the Messiah, and every day he woke up and was looking for him. Never once did he wake up and say, it has been months, years, this is never going to happen. No, he had faith in God and eagerly woke up every day. So I said this on Sunday, and I'm going to say it again. Job 22:21. It says, now acquaint yourself with him and be at peace. When you start your morning off looking up and you put in the time and effort to get to know him, then you're going to get to carry that peace with you throughout the day. And you're able to do everything then without complaining and be the shining light in this dark world. When you put him first in the morning and you keep him with you throughout the day, then it's you choosing to follow him closely, keeping him with you, having him lead you and guide you. And that is better than following so far behind that you lose sight of him, right? you lose track of him, and then you veer off the wrong path. And he had this path over here for you, but you were following so far behind, you missed the exit, and you have to come back around. We need to be like Simeon this week. Follow close to God. Stay on that path, and when you're following close to him, waking up every day looking up, then he's going to lead you to victory. Have a great week. Bye.